Welcome back, everybody. This is Brothermutant here. Today we're going to show you a build that I've been working on for a Reddit poster. We've had an issue where people want to be tanky, do damage, and cast spells and all that shit solo. They do not want to have pets. They were suggesting, a lot of people were suggesting a sorcerer-based build that went scaled fist, and then they went into some other stuff, and then they went into vivisectionist, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it would be definitely a good build. They didn't feel it, and I even suggested in the post, I'm like, why not go and step away from sorcerer, because you're not really using spells to their full effect anyway, because they went dragon disciple and everything else. They wanted to feel like a fighter more than anything, but they wanted to be able to cast spells. So why not do bard, that scaled fist, and do a paladin dip so you can get your increased saves based on a 2-level paladin dip, and then from there, because you went bard, is go to a specific type of bard, you can actually do some uncanny dodge, some evasion, some stuff that really makes you feel tanky. And I hadn't said that I would make the build, never did so. Then I finally checked the post the other night, and someone said, well, did you ever make that build? Well, I said, you know what, let's do it. So that's what we're doing now. So let's show you it. I've been working on it the past couple days. I think I have a pretty good feel for what I would like to do with it. I started off with a scaled fist. This is one of 2-part video. This one will be the strength-based build, and as you can see, the character is not very strong, but I have a 14 strength, 13 dex, 12 con, 12 intelligence. I wanted those extra feats, or skills, excuse me. You're going to have access to every last one of them thanks to your bard dip. So the fact that you can literally access everything and use them to the full effect is really nice. The 19 charisma, this is your casting stat as well as your armor class stat, because you're going scaled fist, as you see here. Only 1 level into it, so I figured I might as well start out as a scaled fist. Lawful good, because you can get some decent robes for a monk. That's lawful good. That gives you a +5 to your dodge, which would add to your touch attack armor class. So this, as well as your armor class here, would be extremely high just from wearing those robes. That's nice. Charisma will be your important stat as well as your casting stat, so it makes sense. Because you're going Dragon Disciple 4 levels, this will go up 2 points and 2 points again, so this will be actually 18 without us really investing in anything. So that's why I call this the strength-based build, and we went unarmed for a reason that you'll see here in a moment. Now I'm going to fast forward through this part here. I'll show you what we're doing, but just to point out to you, Dragon Disciple is the goal, and as soon as possible, because we want that strength up. So the only way we do that is to get to Knowledge Arcana 5 by here. So the earliest we can get Dragon Disciple would be 6. That's fine. We also need to be able to cast spells, but that's okay, because we only need to be able to cast level 1 spells. So now we go Bard 1 level into it, and we're done. We have that part covered, so that's not an issue. Now you can go Bard, you can go Thundercaller, Flame Dancer even, and there's reasons for any of them. Bard itself is great. Remember, you're only going to get to level 13 Bard, because you're going to have 1 level of Scaled Fist, 2 levels of Paladin, 4 levels of Dragon Disciple. So that'll be a level 20 character. So know that you're only going to get this far. So if you're like, oh, well, I can totally get this, you're not getting that. So be aware of this. But Bard is going to be good at level 13. Plenty of stuff in here to make you happy. Thundercaller is decent as well. You will not get your Greater Storm Call. You will not get this Bard talent here, but you will stop here at this Bardic Performance again. And there's a lot of good stuff in here too. Flame Dancer is an interesting choice. Because it gives you access to 3 different spells that you would not normally have as a bard. So you can do Burning Hands, Burning Arc, or Fireball, which would add some decent damage potential to your character, and could go a long way to helping you out, by the way. I haven't decided to do that. I actually went with something else. But also notice that when you are casting your performances, you are literally buffing yourself and any teammates near you for fire damage. 10%, damage resistance 10, 20, and 30. Respectively per hit. That's pretty sweet for resisting fire, and that's just built into you singing a song. Pretty badass. I'm going Archaeologist, and I'm going Archaeologist for a couple of really good reasons. Uncanny dodge at level 2 is one. I don't like being flat-footed, and our armor is depending on us not being flat-footed. This is a big boost to us. From there, I like having where is it? Yeah, your evasion. So when I make a reflex save, I take no damage. Then I can get improved evasion around here, I think with my bardic talent, and then I get, even if I fail my reflex save, I only take half damage, which is just baller. Makes you feel like a tank. This Archaeologist luck only works on you, so what? It still works on you, and you're running solo anyway. So you get +1 luck. What is that? Luck bonus to attack rolls, saving throws, all of them. Skill checks, all of them. Weapon damage, all of it. So that's 1 point, 2 points, and eventually 3 points for us, because we're not going to get all the way down to here. But that's a +3 to attacks, +3 to skills, +3 to saves, +3 to damage when I have this on. That's pretty sweet. And I will eventually get the ability to inspire confidence in myself as well as others. And while that seems stupid because I'm already getting a +3 to skills here, this one will allow me to get to +4. So that's a thing. So because I'm at +4, there's a reason to actually have this on sometimes. But by and large, they work off the same pool. So this is the one you probably leave on when you're fighting. And if you're doing a skill check, you probably want to shut it off and make sure this one's on, but it's up to you. It's only 1 point in difference, really. But there's a lot of thieving skill type, rogue type skills that are built into this. You know, the trickery and perception bonus here, thanks to Clever Explorer. The ability to always roll a 10 on your trickery check, which means I'll never fail a check on a trap, so I don't have to worry about it blowing up in my damn face. I can check it safely to see how much trickery I need to pass it. If a 10's not good enough, I can shut this off and hope for the best or buff up as needed. Extremely useful, and I still get plenty of bardic talents, which would be extremely helpful, not to mention our bardic knowledge, which is going to be amazing. So again, Archaeologist is the way to go here. You want to make sure your mobility gets to 3, then to 5, and then to 8 as soon as you can muster it, because at 3 that gives you extra armor class, 5 and 8 are necessary for the unarmed stuff that we're going to do, because we are going to go dragon style with this build. Now you do want to make sure that that Knowledge Arcana keeps going up, because remember we got to get that to 5 as soon as possible. Never skimp out on Perception, and I always like to unlock the ones that require you to have a point in them. So that's Use Magic Device, your Knowledge, and your Lore skills. You have to at least have 1 point in them to effectively use them. I know it says it's a +1, that's bullshit. It's technically not true, but because I am a bard, I actually think it is true. It's a rare exception to the rule. For spells, again, I'll try to fly through this quickly so this video isn't too terribly long, and then we'll talk about them at the very end. But I will mention what I'm doing and why I'm doing them. Straight up damage, guaranteed damage, unless they make, of course, their spell resistance check and we don't penetrate it. Chance to daze them, extremely helpful. Crowd control ability, yes please. We're going to go Bard all the way to level 5. Keep going with mobility, keep going with Arcana and Perception. Then from there, unlock the stuff you want to unlock. Actually, I think I want Trickery. Remember, you're doing your own picking of locks and stuff. So opening locks and disarming traps, that's how you're going to get a lot of your skills, or your XP. Alright, from here, we started off, because we're human, we got Crane Style, Dodge, and Deflect Arrows at level 1. A lot of stuff at level 1, which is extremely nice. Now we're going to go for Blind Fight. And then for this one here, I almost always like Combat Trick, and we're going to actually do Arcane Strike. This will give you magic damage built into your weapon, including your unarmed strikes. It's not going to be stellar, but it's more damage and it's free, and you just have to activate it. So just make sure that that toggle's running. More spells. By this point, you're probably using up a lot of your potions because you're running solo. You're taking all the damage. You have no one to heal you but you. Get Cure Light Wounds. We're actually going to get all the single target cure spells in this build. So you know Cure Light, Cure Moderate, Cure Serious, and Cure Critical. So level 1, 2, 3, and 4 spells will always have at least those cure spells in them at some point. The reason for that is if you don't use all your spells before you go take a nap, you will use those spells to heal yourself so that you're fully recovered. That's the goal. Okay, Dodge, that's going to go a long way to making sure that our armor stays high. Keep going Bard. All points go into Charisma. Okay, at this point, we don't have to push mobility yet. We keep going with Arcana. It would not be a bad idea to make sure your trickery is higher. So I'm going to do that for the time being, and then we'll work on mobility next. at this point, you're actually close enough to level 2 spells that you might want to be able to pick up Vanish. And I say that because you're going to do some sneak attack damage. Since you don't have teammates, you're going to need to be able to cast a spell that makes you invisible, greater invisible, or vanish so that you can sneak attack damage. The reason you're going to do sneak attack damage is you have a spell coming up at level 2 called Sense Vitals. So you'll have potions that can do this. That's fine. Use them first. Keep your spells for all the other uses. But when you run out and you still need that sneak attack damage, Vanish is there for this reason. Last dip in Bard for now, because that's the last point in Arcana we need. Always go Perception. Now let's get that mobility up to 5 now. This will allow us to do the dragon style stuff that we want to do. So 5 will be important, and then later on 8 will be important. From here, put yourself stuff in Stealth, use Magic Device. Let's do Persuasion and use Magic Device. Remember, we are the face of the team since we're running solo, and we are charismatic, so these two are charismatic as well, so let's keep them even. From here, we're grabbing Power Attack. Now, you don't have to leave this on. It's as if you can afford to take the hit to your attack bonus. Turn it on for that extra damage. If not, that's fine. Shut it back off, and you're perfectly fine, and you have a better chance to hit your mark. Remember, 0% chance to hit a target for twice the damage, it's going to do you shit. You might as well be able to hit the mark and do half damage, because at least you're doing something, right? From here, you have level 2 spells, and as I said, Sense Vitals is the thing. You might get that. That'd be the first one I'd go with. Mirror Image, you are a tank. You want to be able to take that beating, here's your way of doing it. Okay, you should see now, we've unlocked Dragon Disciple. At level 6, first chance we can get it. Now here's the problem with Dragon Disciple. You have to pick a Draconic Bloodline. We'll get to that in a second. Always go over a Perception. We only get 2 more points, so you have to pick wisely when you're Dragon Disciple because you don't get a lot. I'm going to go Stealth and Lord Nature. If I ever have to hunt, this needs to be high. If I need to encamp and Stealth because I'm solo, then this needs to be high as well. Now you have to pick a Draconic Bloodline. Normally this wouldn't only matter if you're a sorcerer because the types of spell damage you do, elementally speaking, gets a buff based on the type of dragon you are. So if you're doing a lot of acid attacks, you want to be something like a black dragon because you do more acid damage then. If you want to do electrical attacks, you go blue dragon, for instance, because it does electrical breath weapon. If you want fire, brass, red, gold work, because again they do fire breath damage. And again, all viable options, and then of course there's white for cold, and then there's another one in here for cold somewhere. But the point is, you don't do electric, fire, acid, or cold damage as a bard. There's only one spell that I can think of in your list that allows you to do any type of elemental damage that's not sonic. There's no sonic dragon out there. It sucks balls. But if you wanted to, you have a spell called Shadow Evocation that allows you to do a fireball spell, a lightning bolt spell, a shout spell, which who cares, ice storm, or volcanic storm. So you have cold damage, fire damage, and electric damage in that list. But it's only one spell. And yes, you could do more damage. There's nothing wrong with that. The other bonus is that depending on what type of elemental damage you would do as this dragon, you get some elemental resistance. Only DR 5, but you are resistant to that type. So if you think you're going to come across a lot of fire, pick a fire type. That's cool, nothing wrong with that, and you'll do more damage with that fireball spell. But I say, because you get the ability to cast a breath weapon of the type that we're talking about, that you want to pick something that does acid. You see right down here, silver, cold damage, no, green. There's acid damage. Yeah. So let's go green. I could have picked black. They're all the same, except for the type of breath weapon you do. A black dragon does a beam, and I think green does a cone. I'd rather be a cone. It's easier to line them up. But you'll see it. And again, you do get that resistance. We also get some natural armor class, which is extremely nice. Keep going that for 4 levels. This gave us 2 extra strength right now because of the Dragon Disciple. It's extremely cool. Get that up. You don't need to invest in Arcana anymore. I mean, you can, but you don't have to, I'm saying, because we've already got what we needed out of it. I would like to keep going with those, and Athletics. And Whenever our strength is going up, athletics keys off of strength. Now, we are going for dragon style. And nope, we're going to go right past crane wing. And I know it's tempting to grab it now. But we want dragon style for a reason. Bard, because we have no choice. And for here, you are the tank. You're the one taking the beating. So let's get some toughness on you, right? This will go a long way to making sure you can take that beating when stuff gets through your defenses. And notice it'll say stuff like, oh, you have mage armor and resist energy and all these other spells. Nah, it's bullshit. You do not get them. You are a bard. Bards don't just get those for free for whatever reason. We don't just learn them as we level up, which is kind of a bummer. I think we do get wings, though. I could be wrong on that. Another level 2 spell. You might be tempted with things like Blur. Not a bad choice. Cure Moderate's also good. Delayed Poison is amazing, but you can get this on a scroll, cast it, and it lasts you for an hour. It's worth the investment for that duration. Screw it, just buy the damn scroll. Glitter Dust, on the other hand, is a nice crowd control ability. Sound Burst is another crowd control ability, a chance to stun them. Fortitude save, of course, and a minor amount of damage. And you are going to do sonic damage. You might just get used to the fact that you're going to do that. Okay, keep going, Dragon Disciple. Charisma. Get that up to 8 before too long so we can get into our... Oh, no, I need it. No, I don't. Not yet. Move to... I'm going to go with Glitter Dust. No, I'm going to go with... Yeah, I'm going to take Glitter Dust. Seeing those invisible things and the chance to blind them too is particularly helpful. Okay, now we need to get that to 8. Now we're done with mobility. The reason we need that to 8 is, again, it unlocks a feat for us. Dragon Roar, if I'm not mistaken. And these 2 points, let's get those up. Dragon Ferocity. Notice that we need a mobility 5, which we already have. To get this one, so that one's taken care of. Dragon Ferocity will increase our unarmed strength attacks, which would be extremely nice. And level 1 spell. I like the ability to floor their dexterity. Even if they make the save, it will still take dexterity damage. Level 3 spells. You see displacement, you know you want that. Haste is good, slow is good, Thundering Drums does decent damage, and these ones have the thumb down because they think you're going to get them for free. You do not. So if you want them, grab them. I'm not grabbing them. I think that I'd rather have something like Dispel Magic over Fear, but if I don't want Dispel Magic, then I'm certainly not picking that one. So there's plenty of other stuff that we want to pick here. We're done with Dragon Disciple. Now we need Paladin, 2 levels, but we're not going to get it yet because we want to take our Bard up to the point where we get Evasion. After that, I will do Paladin, and then the rest will be Bard. And the reason I say that is because once you get Evasion, your reflex saves become super important. So that's when the Paladin bonus to saves is going to come in super handy. So let's make sure to have that first. So Bard, keep going for Bard. Make sure that Trickery stays up. These ones here, we don't want to push too high. Remember, I want them to be about a plus 15 when we're at level 20. We're going to get this to 24, so that's 2 more points coming their way. So I need to get them up to 13. So 2 more dips into that one each will be enough. Let's get that up, though. I like having high athletics score. I never normally have that on my character. Level 3 spell. Crushing Despair is good. Slow's good. The difference between them is Crushing Despair, being a cone, is harder to aim, but it does a lot of penalties. Attacks, damage, saving throws, ability checks, skill checks. Huge stuff. And it's a will save. Lasts for a long time. Slow does not last a long time. It's only a -1 penalty, but they are considered staggered, and their penalty to speed is slowed, and the reflex penalty is the only penalty to saves, the reflex save. But that's okay. Overwhelming Grief, nah. Other choices could be obviously Cure Serious, but I like slow. Slow's a good one. And I like haste, don't get me wrong, but I like slow for AoE, crippling everybody versus buffing just me is not action economy friendly. Debuffing an entire pack of bastards could be extremely helpful. Now we have our evasion. That's the last I invest in these because the last 2 points will put this to plus 15. And while that's not amazing, we have ways to buff it up beyond the plus 15, so I'm not worried. From here, I would invest in whatever you think is important. And I'm spreading them around, I admit. We are a jack of all trades for a reason. But if you really know that Arcane is going to be your thing, pump it, baby. You can't do that. You got more than enough points to max out several stats. So feel free to do so. I just know that I want these to be reasonably high. This has to be maxed because you're the only one perceiving anything. And we know we want to have our trickery and stealth up enough to actually camp at night and unlock locks as well as pick traps for some extra XP. From here, we already did Dragon Ferocity, right? I think we're on Crane Wing now. That'll give us some extra armor. And combat trick, if I'm not mistaken, for Crane Riposte. Very nice. Remember, you have to pick between which one you're using. So even though both toggles may be running, which is a glitch currently in the game, Dragon style and Crane style can't run together. If you have both activated and both toggles running, it just assumes you want a Dragon style. So just what I always do is shut off Crane, put on Dragon. It's just a click, you can do it while it's paused. And then when you want to know you need better armor, you shut off Dragon, turn on Crane, and you're back to being Crane style. So that's how you want to do that. It used to be where they would shut each other off. And sometimes it works in the game, sometimes it don't. So don't confuse that. You really, if you got both of them running, you really are running with Dragon style on. From here, while Dispel Magic is useful, I would err on the side of caution and get yourself some protection. Healing yourself is extremely useful. And notice we still haven't got our healing at level 2. We will get there. It just hasn't been as crucial. Alright, now we're here, and now we need Paladin. 2 levels. Divine Guardian and Hospitaller aren't interesting to me in any real way. Paladin is interesting because it allows you to have heavy armor. Doesn't mean that we can use it with our monk abilities, but that's okay. If you've got that pimp-ass armor and a really good weapon, go Paladin on his ass. That's fine. Remember, this is supposed to be your tank. Divine Hunter is the one I'm going for. And why? Because even though it still gives me medium armor, which means I still can't cast spells as a bard in it, by the way, but I have medium armor on, so I can pre-buff up, put on that armor, go to town and have a decent armor class if that armor is helping me in some way. I also get this free feat. The only difference between it and Paladin is I don't get the feat, and now I can wear heavy armor, so it's up to you. But I like having that precise shot. And it's skipping past that point-blank shot, which I really don't care about. This still stops that penalty of me firing into melee combat. Now the problem is I'm going to be the one in melee combat since I'm running solo, most likely than not. But still, it's a free feat. It's kind of hard to pass it up. Charisma. And then we're done with those. Perception has to go up. And I really want to work on trickery. This is the only one I pick, and it don't matter, but I'm picking this one because it's the unarmed striker. And again, that doesn't mean shit. It's just the one I picked. Last dip in Paladin, and that's all because of this, Divine Grace. Now you'll see our 10, 9, 10, 16, 16, 15. That's because of Divine Grace. That's why you jumped so high. And again, always get perception up. Never hurts to have your trickery up. Yeah, I'll take this to probably 15. I'm going to solid plus 15 for trickery is probably pretty good for us. From here, we get Dragon Roar. This one's kind of weird. This is the one that required you to have that mobility of 8, as you see here. The reason for this one is another AoE attack. It's a cone, a very narrow, small cone, doesn't reach very far. It does 2 things though. It does bludgeoning, excuse me, damage based on how strong your fist punches are. So max out your fist punching and get them lined up and cast this thing. And what this does is it'll use 2 of your stunning fists to do it. It's guaranteed damage. I mean, it assumes it hits them. Guaranteed damage. I don't think that there's a spell resistance check because it's not a spell. There is a saving throw check, so you will save. That prevents them from being shaken. Doesn't do a shit about the damage. They're always going to take that damage. So that's a thing. So this narrow 15-foot cone will help you do a lot of bludgeoning damage, assuming that's something they're susceptible to, of course. If you want to shaken the target, this is a pretty good chance that you'll shaken them too, because it's DC 10, half your character level, and then your wisdom modifier. It says it's actually charisma because you are a charisma-based monk, so discard that part. I did check this. This does work off of your charisma because I'm a scaled fist monk. Okay. And of course, lay on hands, which is free. You might as well have the ability to heal yourself some more. It's all good. Now we're straight bard for the rest of it. And again, always keep your perception up. Always work on trickery. Plus 15 is as high as I wanted to ever take it. Now we can just diversify on whatever else we wanted. Level 2 spell. We don't have our heal. Time to get it. We're going to get one more spell in here, so you can think about what else you're going to grab. But there's really not much at level 2 that you really want. Maybe blur, maybe blindness. Delay poison you can find on scrolls, so I wouldn't waste your money on it. Invisibility could be okay, but you already have vanish over here, so there's really not a point in doing it. Level 4. I see Dimension Door, I have to pick it, guys. If it's not something I'm getting for free, then it's something that I'm picking because I know I want to be able to teleport. In and out of trouble, teleport behind areas that you know there's treasure back there. Indispensable use of a spell. From there, Shout is a classic. Greater invisibility could be good. But let's go Shout for right now. Okay, we're done with trickery. We're done with persuasion and use magic device. Remember, these will be plus 15 once we get to level 20 because this will go up another point. And I'm happy with that. Perception, we always max out. At this point, it's whatever you feel. Do you really want to level these guys up evenly? Do you want to have one be like gangbusters? It's up to you. Really, there's no wrong answer here. I do like having some points in stealth and athletics. These are physical skills that we are decent at, not great at. From here, you're getting lingering performance. That includes your Archaeologist luck, and of course will include Inspired Competence once you get it. So this will allow you to turn it on, shut it right back off, and it will last for 2 more rounds after. So this extends the duration of it for a long, long time if you're paying attention to that sort of thing. And since you're running solo, you should be able to. Last level 1 spell pick. This is on you, but remove fear. It's easy enough to buy a scroll of. Hideous Laughter is okay. I like Feather Step or Expeditious Retreat, and I know I like Expeditious Retreat because it allows me to zip around. And if you really are decent enough with a crossbow, you can literally, or a bow for that matter, you can literally kite like crazy and just pepper a single bad guy for a good long while with this buff on, because it does last for several minutes. This is almost enough to solo a lot of content of the game, quite frankly, as long as you're good enough shot with a bow. Seems weird, but it really is. Level 4 spell pick. We said we liked Greater Invis. Might as well get it. This will allow you to do sneak attack damage a bunch of times. Yes, you will have to repick your target. So what? You're running solo. More charisma. More perception. From here, do what you like. Another level 4 spell. Might as well get that Cure Critical now. You know you're going to want it. Now we have every heal from 1 to 4. That's the only ones I care about. And this also, by the way, as much as I say heal, remember it can do damage to undead. So if you need to do undead damage, use some cure spells on the bastard. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. From here, we're getting improved critical unarmed strike, which sounds stupid. And I'll grant you, it's lame. And I say that because all monk weapons, including the unarmed strike, only crit on a natural 20. Now this one will crit on a 19 or 20. Not incredibly amazing. But if this is your main go-to attack, you might as well be able to crit as often as possible. So a 5% chance to crit just jumped to a 10% chance to crit, which again doesn't sound amazing, but you doubled your chance to crit. Yes, it'd be great if you had an 18, 19, 20 crit range, and then you had the improved critical to extend that 3 times more. But let's just face it, monk weapons suck. There's nothing you can do. The only reason we're using monk weapons is for that extra free attack flurry of blows that gives us at level 1. So if you don't think that that's a thing, fine. But I do like that free extra attack. It means I don't have to use speed spells or effects, haste or anything like that. Yes, I'll use haste for when I need it. Extra armor and speed is always nice. But I don't need it for that extra swing. I already had that thanks to flurry of blows. But this will increase my chances now of critting, and I'm cool with that. The other feat, we're going to grab improved evasion. Why? Because I really like being a tank that takes half damage even if I fail that reflex save. Level 3 spell. You can do Dispel Magic, see Invisible. Haste is fine. I can see Crushing Despair. Nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, let's do that one. Level 5. I'm not going to do any of the mass cure spells because, again, you're running solo. Unless you're doing it to hurt the undead. You got better chances to hurt the undead with things like Shout and Greater Shout and whatever. Shadow Evocation, on the other hand. Now we can do some fire damage, lightning damage, all kinds of fun stuff. From there, the last pick for this one, I would pick something like Greater Heroism. Extra hit points, +4 to hit, +4 to your saves, +4 to your skill checks. Notice that's morale bonus, guys, so that's not working against your luck bonus. They add up. So all that's adding to my Archaeologist luck. So instead of +4, I could have technically a +7 by the end of this all. It's pretty nice. Advanced talent. From there, going Bard, going Perception. Level 2 spell, last one. Now, for the ones you have, remember, we don't summon because they didn't want summoning. I hate Scare and Rage. The out-level Scare and Rage seems silly. Invisibility's okay, but meh. Heroism's okay. Lasts longer than Greater Heroism, but Greater Heroism is still better. You already have it. Delay Poison's okay, but you can get scrolls for that. Buy them, they're cheap. They last for an hour, so you don't really need them. Blur, on the other hand, could be useful. Yes, it's only a 20% chance to miss you, unlike Displacement. But Displacement doesn't last very long. And if you run out of Displacement, at least you got a Blur. Cast that on you. That's still some protection. Okay? Level 5 spell. Well, at this point, you can do Greater Dispel Magic. Kai Shout, on the other hand, does amazing damage. By the time we're done with everything, we'll be a level 16 caster, so we'll be able to do 16d6 of damage single target. It's not amazing, but it's still there, and there's still a chance to stun. We get a lot of chances to stun, by the way, in this build. Keep going, Bard. And more Perception. Yeah, I know I'm spreading my points around because I'm not a master of anything, but if you feel differently, feel free to put it where it makes sense to you. Now I need, where is it? Improved initiative. Our initiative, quite frankly, sucks. We have a dexterity that gives us a +1, guys. So we're only getting a +1 to our chances to roll first. We don't particularly care because we should have enough armor to be able to take that first swing. And remember, we have Uncanny Dodge, so we don't have to worry about going first. But I still like the chance to go first. So improved initiative is what I'm picking here. Level 5 spell. I think this is my last level 5 spell as well. Resonating Word's a good choice. Greater Dispel Magic could be handy. I like Resonating Word because it stuns and then stuns and then stuns, or stagger, excuse me. Stagger, stun, and then, here, what does it say? Stunning effect, stagger effect. So stagger, stun, and stun. It's 3 rounds of damage, damage, and damage, which is kind of cool. I don't know that that's amazing, but it's guaranteed 5d6, 5d6, and 10d6, so that's 20d6 of damage. That's technically better than my Kai Shout. It just we have to wait for it to trigger off, and trigger off. I do like the fact, though, that they roll for saves for staggering and stun effects. But you could totally convince me to do Greater Dispel Magic, or Cloak of Dreams would work. Pretty decent one, actually. This would be pretty good for a tank, since you're going to be center of attention. Let them fall asleep around you. But I don't think that'll work at the end game. So let's go Greater Dispel Magic. Last step of Bard. This is 20. Maximum Charisma. Decent Armor class, which we'll talk about later. Highest Perception I can get you right now without investing skills or feats into it. So it's a really nice Perception score. These are 15 like I said they would be. Let's get these to 10s, because I just like double digits. Why not? And then from there, what do you want 2 points in, guys? Athletics? Sure, why not? Last level 4 spell. I'd probably pick something like Freedom of Movement. Hold Monster would be okay. Rainbow Pattern could be awesome. I don't do Shield of Dawn because, quite frankly, I don't want them hitting me. So I don't particularly care that they would take fire damage. I'd rather they miss. So I just ignore that one and go for something like Rainbow Pattern, Hold Monster, Freedom of Movement. If you have a piece of gear that gives you freedom of movement, I could see saying screw that then and getting something else like Dominate Person or whatever. Break Enchantment could be okay, but I'm going to grab this because I know I want freedom of movement at some point. Level 6, again, these are going to be last minute picks because it's level 20 stuff. I don't know that any of this would be useful for you or if you'd ever see these being used, but whatever. Greater Shout's decent, Overwhelming Presence is decent. There you go, you're done. Oops. And that's it. Now let's actually show you how I put everything in the trays, okay? It'll make a lot more sense. So first, you know you want to fight defensively. You should always have that on. I like to have Crane Style right next to it because I like to have it on. Notice how Dragon Style's off. If I turn this on, this stays on. That's wrong. Shut it off just to let you know that it's off. It's not working while they're both on, by the way. So right now, if I were to fight somebody, it'd be, oh, I'm defending myself and fighting extra strong. No, this is the one that's technically on because this can't be on while this is on. So technically just shut it off like that and then you know you're under the effect of Dragon Style. If you click it like this and it shuts it off, great. That's what it should do. But for some reason it's not working in reverse. I do not know why that is. It's just a glitch. So literally, and you can prove it to yourself with your checking of your charts over here. But like I said, if you know you need the defense, go Crane Style. If you know you want to wail on something, shut it off and turn immediately back onto Dragon Style. And you're going to do as much damage then with your physical punches. Arcane Strike should be over here. Power Attack should be there. The reason I say Arcane Strike should be over here is you'll always leave that on. If that, for whatever reason, gets shut off, for whatever reason, make sure to click it back on. Because that's extra damage. And it's free damage. Why not have it? I think we're doing a +4 to our damage and magical as a result, which is kind of sweet. Power Attack, as you can see here, is doing extra damage, but it's going to penalize our swing. As you can see here, -4. There's ways around that with other abilities and buffs that we have. Here is our Inspire Competence. Notice shares the same number as this one, so we have 35 uses a day. And again, we have the extended use of it, so if I turn it on, we're under its effect, and I shut it right back off again, it will last for 2 more rounds. Remember that lingering performance works for either of these, so that's a good way to make sure that lasts for a good long while. So don't feel shy about turning it on, getting halfway through the fight, and then shutting it off. Perfectly fine and acceptable. Notice how we have Dragon Roar. I'm going to put this way up here, along with our Dragon Breath. Notice how it's a cone, because of the type of dragon that I picked. That's important. If I picked Black Dragon, it would have been a line, a 30 or 60 foot acidic line of acid. I'd rather have the cone. These are going to be where my AoE effects are. These will be my single target effects down here. I'll have my heals, and then I'll have my buffs and weird utility stuff up here. Okay, so I try to fill everything down here that's my abilities as best I can. And I don't particularly care about Stunning Fist, because I'd rather use Dragon Roar. Every time I use Dragon Roar, this goes down by 2. So it's 6 of those, 3 of them. So they're linked. Okay, this is the better use in my opinion. If you find a better way to use single target stuns, go right ahead. There is a way to lower their their armor class with feats, a stunning blow or some kind in one of the feats. I just did not go that route. We have lay on hands self, lay on hands for single targets. We have smite evil, always useful. And I never seem to use mobility. It's a thing, but I just never seem to use it, and I don't particularly care about the grow claws. So that's a thing. Other than that, there is nothing else in here that I want down in this tray. So this one that I slapped on here just because I slapped it down without telling you. This is your Confident Explorer one that as long as this is on, you will never roll anything less than a 10. Matter of fact, you won't roll anything better than a 10 for your trickery checks. So when you're trying to pick locks or disable traps, it's going to be a 10 on the roll. If that's not good enough, shut it off and roll natural. But we'll show you the skills here in a minute. Let's get to our spell book. First, I always want to have my light spell. And while normally I put these two here, they're kind of useless, and I really don't want to slap them down here because it's going to take up spots that I'm going to use for actual useful spells. But let's take every healing spell and slap them one on top of the other so that I always know where my healing is. So if I haven't used any of these uses per day, when I take a knee and go to camp, I will naturally heal myself with those spells. So if I'm really, really low, I could be fully healed and just by using up my old use of the spells, which I'm perfectly fine with. That's all of them because I didn't do anything past level 4. Now I want to put all my single target damage here. AoE damage. Scroll up that way. Buffs will be right above them. Single target. Buff. AoE. Another AoE. Another buff. You see we have a lot of AoEs, which is nice. We could use that to great effect. Teleport. Oh yeah, we definitely want our teleport. Shout. Greater Invis. Free Moon. Now you see we're already running out of room. Now here's where we got some damaged ones, and these ones are weird, so I'm going to slap the shadowy locations there. We clearly need room, so let's go like that, because we definitely want greater heroism, so we don't forget that we have the ability to cast it. Key Shout, that's single target, right? And Dispel, Greater Dispel Magic, let's slap that down there, because that seems to be like an odd use spell. Last spells then to slap up then are these two. Obviously we don't have room for all of them, so we have Greater Shout and Overwhelming Presence. Now, slide these down, because I like to have them in order from lowest to highest. And you see we have Greater Shout and Overwhelming Presence. Which would you more likely to use? Overwhelming Presence. Let me go to the book. Does what? Cowering, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even sure that this spell works like it should, so I take that. It might be a bad choice. But let's put Greater Shout there. We just have to remember that we have the ability to cast Overwhelming Presence instead. That's how I would set up my bar. Now the reason for this is, like I said, I like to know where my heals are at. I like having all my buffs here so that I know what I can buff with. Teleport I always like to leave at the top so that I always know that I can get in and out of a specific spot. I like having my damage single target to AoE. You could just as easily have gone crowd control to just damage if you wanted. But since most of my damaging spells do crowd control in and of themselves, stun for one round, stun for another round, staggered for a round, whatever they do, it's entirely plausible that everything that I have in here is going to have some kind of effect potentially associated with it. I like having my straight up damage ones down here because these are going to be the weird ones that I'm going to want to activate when I need them. These ones I want my toggles down here because that way I'm paying attention to my toggles at all at the same spot. And again, if I really need to buff myself up for some considerable luck, Archaeologist luck will do it. Now let's take a look at how I fight when I'm fighting crane style, because these numbers are going to be misleading. Let's So let's get out of here into our next little fight and you'll see what I mean. Might have to be the fight after this one though, because these guys always jump in. If Lindsay gets a lucky shot off, I get screwed on this.
We will prevail. We shall overcome.
Alright. Boom, smack. Boom, smack.
Just in time.
Now, give me that stuff. I want to equip the ring, and I want to show you that to you for a reason. Note, having the ring on does affect my armor class. It is a deflection armor class. It's only a +1, so it's better than nothing. But if you got a ring of deflection +5 or a cloak of deflection +5 or whatever else gives you a deflection of +5, that's obviously the item you want to have. Notice how it affects all kinds of stuff. Deflection works here, it works here, and it works here as well. So all three of my armor classes are impacted by a deflection ring. So there's a ring of deflection +5. I would highly suggest you try to get it or something similar. Okay, that is going to add to your touch armor class, and this is really your take-home message here, guys. If you get a really good touch armor class, who cares about everything else? Because this one is going to be good, then everything else is going to be just as good or better. Okay. Now my touch armor class is 20 right now, and I'm level 20, and you may think, well, that's kind of lame. You're level 20. Why do you suck so much? Well, one, I haven't cast any spells. Not that I have any spells that can really buff me right now, but there are other ways for me to get this up besides a ring of deflection +5. Look at what's impacted by my touch armor class so far. You see that my charisma affects it, so does my dexterity bonus. Well, those are real low right now. My charisma is pretty decent, but my dexterity is, in the toilet. There's a belt that gives you a +8 to strength, dex, and con. There's a hat that gives you a +8 to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So that would be a +4 bonus here and a +4 bonus here. That's +8 that I could add to my touch armor class right there. So now I could have an armor class of 28. Then you add another 4 to it because I have a better ring. 28 becomes 32. That's just from having 3 pieces of gear, guys. Now that's not amazing, but it's 32 from a touch armor class. There's not a whole lot of things in the game that do touch armor attacks. There are at the end of the game, sure, and you're obviously going to want to layer that stuff, and displacement's going to help layer some protection because it's a 50% chance that they'll just straight up miss you. Or blur, 20% chance that they'll miss you. And all kinds of things like mirror image that will allow them to hit your mirror image and not you. You see what I'm saying? This is your protection as a tank. We have the chance to do more damage because we'll increase our strength +8 with that belt I told you about. So that's going to be a +40 here. It means this becomes a +8 to damage. And since we have that dragon ferocity stuff going for us, instead of doing a +8 to damage on a swing, we do a +16 because it doubles from the first swing. And then does 1.5 for every swing after. So instead of +8, it'll be +12 to the damage. So you'll see this number going up and up and up as we get better gear. That's nice. You'll see our attack bonus going up because, again, our strength goes higher, which means we have a better attack bonus. We have spells like Greater Heroism we can cast on ourselves. We have all kinds of things. Like our Archaeologist luck will increase this. It will also increase our damage. It'll also increase our saves. Let's look at these saves. 19 for Fortitude, 19 Reflex, 20 for Will. And again, doesn't sound stellar, but watch how I can increase these to ridiculous levels, okay? Remember, I talked about the belt and the hat that'll increase all of these stats by +8, right? Well, if I increase my Constitution 8 points, that means I get a +4 to this bonus here, which means my +4 to Fortitude. So 19 becomes 23. Same with reflexes. My dexterity goes up 8, which means a +4 added to this, which means my reflexes go up another 4, making this a 23. My wisdom goes up +8 thanks to that hat. That's a +4 here, +4 to my will saves, making this a 24. So now this is really 23, 23, 24. But wait, my charisma goes up another 8, which means another +4 to here, and because of my Paladin dip, that adds to these another 4, 4, and 4. So instead of 23, 23, 24, it's really 27, 27, 28. And that's before I throw on the Cloak of Resistance +5, adding another 5 to each of those. So we're in the 30s for our saves, guys. And I can get that higher than that, I'm fairly certain. Hell, we got Archaeologist luck, which will add another 3 to each of those. Or I could do was the greater heroism, which gave me a +4 to each of them. So there's all kinds of ways for me to just jack those up to high levels. So we should not be missing our saving throws, except of course on the natural ones. That's going to happen to everybody. Don't gripe about that to me, because I can't stop that from happening. It's going to be a thing. But remember, if it's a reflex save, we're only taking half damage from it because we had an improved evasion, right? So we got a lot of good stuff going for us on this build. We will have a decent armor class when you start getting that gear and casting the proper spells on you. You chug your potions as needed. Remember, I can use mage armor and add another 4 to my armor class just by chugging this potion right now. Yes, it lasts for an hour. Yes, I could get bracelets of armor class, or sorry, bracers of armor class +8, which would be even better. And then I never have to use those potions or those scrolls again. But that would take my bracer slot away from me, and there might be something better that I could use in that slot. So keep that in mind. So there's going to be something for a monk that allows you to do unarmed striking damage better. That's the one you're going to want to have, and I want to say it's gloves, but I don't know that. It could be bracers. So keep that in mind. Keep them on your person. They're lightweight. There's no reason you can't swap them in and out as needed. But that's what I'm basically saying. Same with armor. Remember, we can take medium armor on, but look what happens when I just put light armor on me. Everything drops. But now if this was enchanted leather armor of whoop-ashness, maybe that's what I need for this fight. So keep it with you if you think that that might be something that you could swap in and out. Like there's going to be armor that allows you to add bark skin to yourself. That increases your natural armor class. There's going to be armor that makes you immune to fire or poison. If you know you're coming up against those things, slap on that armor. Yes, your armor may take a tanking, but you're still going to be immune to that poison, and you don't have to worry about that part of the fight now. And there's other ways for you to buff up besides that. So I think this build's pretty solid. It's not amazing. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm sure there's going to be ways to improve on it. But I think that you guys would have fun with this. And again, reminder of the fact that if you're using monk weapons, find it for you, Flurry of Blows allows you to do that extra swing each round at full attack bonus, which means instead of a 19, 14, 9, you got a 19, a 19, a 14, and a 9 with those monk weapons. And I think there's even a monk range weapon, the shuriken, but I've never found any in the game. But if you ever find one and they're magical, grab that for your range attack. Instead of 16, 11, and 6, you should have a 16, a 16, and 11, and a 6 because of Flurry of Blows. So that's 4 attacks in a round, guys. Whether it's melee or range, as long as you're using those monk weapons, and everyone else that's not a straight up fighter that's getting all the way up to the 4 attacks around because of their high base attack bonus. Everyone else is probably swinging at a +3, or sorry, 3 attacks around. So we're doing equal or better than everybody else, and we're doing some considerably decent damage. Not amazing, but again, we haven't buffed up, we haven't added spells, effects, magical gear or any kind. But look at our stats now. We have a 22 to trickery, 30 for perception, use magic device at 16. Our mental stats for knowledge and lore are pretty damn high teens. Athletics is decent, persuasion is good, mobility is okay. It's not, I mean, it's the worst that we got, including stealth. But there's a cloak of stealth +10 that you can add to you that jumps that up. There's a booties that give you, I want to say, mobility +5, elven boots or what have you. So again, there's ways to increase those with just some simple gear. Nothing spectacular about that. But that's before I even throw in stuff like, well, look, I got the greater heroism. Everything went up. Another +4, thanks to that morale. If I wanted just to look at the martial here, it's up another 4 thanks to the greater heroism, ignoring the power attack effect that I have on me right now. So that again, I'm back to my full swinging potential, if you will, and getting a ridiculous amount of damage as a result. If I wanted to shut it off and turn on dragon style, you'll actually see my damage go up. You don't see it on that chart. You have to go to the next fight to see it, sadly. I don't know why it doesn't update over here like it should. Oh, there we go. But if you stealth,
from sight.
oh, let's actually do it proper.
Attack! Defeat is not
Sneak attack. Sneak attack. Oh yeah. See what I'm saying? So Nice little slurge of damage there thanks to the sneak attack bonus. 5d6 extra damage. Pretty sweet. It held did almost as much damage as my actual attack of 24. So 24 and 21. That's pretty nice. The one before that, 40, 23, and 17. Again, you can really capitalize on some nice sneak attack damage if you want to. And that's before I even do stuff like buffing up with this. And again, with our Archaeologist luck, you'll see that we got a +3 to that. We're fighting defensively, so there's a penalty there. But we almost overcome it completely with our Archaeologist luck. The great heroism negates the power attack, so we're really only near -1 penalty to swinging right now. And that's with a really decent increase to our armor class and our damage. And we can do that for a decent long while. The amount of damage we put out is even better now thanks to our Archaeologist luck. And if I switch to like a quarterstaff, I still get to swing just as hard. Well, not just as hard. I get to swing with a bonus to my strength because it's a two-handed weapon. I get the 2 attacks at full attack bonus, and then 2 attacks after that at the lesser bonus. So I'd get a 19, a 19, a 14, and a 9 with that quarterstaff. I could do it with a comma. I could do it with a psi. I wouldn't get extra damage bonus because those are small weapons, but so what? There's decent size and decent commas in this game. Some give you some decent dodge armor class, and dodge is added to your touch as well as your regular armor class. So there's other ways then for you to get your armor class up. We also have robes that are specific to a monk, lawful good monk at that, and it'd be a +5, I want to say, and that would push this up some more. So there's ways for you to get some decent armor in this game that I think this would be pretty darn tanky. Your initiative is not stellar, but remember, we can't be caught flat-footed, so that's a big thing. And I think that you'd be able to take this to completion of the game, or at the very least, all the way to the end, pretty darn easily. You see again, though, how Arcane Strike somehow got shut off. Whenever you see that happen, just make sure to reactivate that bad boy. I don't know if it's because we turned this on or what. You can have both of them on at the same time. It doesn't seem to stop them. But for whatever reason, this will randomly shut off, I've noticed. Highly annoying. Just turn it back on. And again, if you want this one on to fight defensively and get rid of those penalties, this A gives me more armor now and less of a penalty for swinging. But now I've lost out on some of that damage because I'm not dragon style. But with that, my name is Brothermutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.